You can save money for 10 years and still be broke. Not broke in your bank account, broke in leverage, broke in options, broke in time. Because there's a subtle difference between saving money and building wealth. And most people don't notice it until they've already lost a decade. Saving feels responsible, mature, safe. Building wealth feels uncertain, slower, slightly uncomfortable. So guess which one most people choose? Here's the uncomfortable truth. A lot of good with money people are just professional savers. They feel disciplined. They skip the lattes. They stack cash. They watch their balance grow. But they never upgrade their identity. And that's where this quietly gets dangerous. Because if your financial identity is I'm a saver, you will unconsciously avoid becoming an owner. And owners build wealth. Savers protect it. Those are not the same game. So the real question isn't, how much have you saved? It's, who are you becoming financially? And this is where most people, especially smart, ambitious 20-somethings, get it wrong. Let's unpack it. 1. Saving protects you. Wealth building changes you. You get your first real paycheck. It hits different, yeah? You open a high-yield savings account. You automate transfers. You feel in control. That feeling is addictive, calm, Swiss-level tidy. I've got this. And honestly, saving is powerful at first. It protects you from chaos. It reduces anxiety. It buys you breathing room. But here's the shift nobody talks about. Saving is defensive. Wealth building is offensive. Saving says, I don't want to lose. Wealth building says, I'm playing to win. Subtle difference. Massive consequence. If all your money sits in cash, even at decent interest, you're choosing stability over ownership. And stability is comfortable. Very British understatement, comfortable. But comfortable doesn't scale. Let me ask you something slightly uncomfortable. If inflation quietly eats 3 to 4% per year, and your money grows at roughly the same pace, are you actually moving forward? Or just running on a financial treadmill? This is where opportunity cost creeps in. Every dollar you over-prioritize in savings is a dollar not compounding in assets. Not in equities. Not in businesses. Not in skills that raise your earning ceiling. It feels safe, but long-term, it might be expensive. And here's the kicker. The longer you stay in protector mode, the harder it becomes to shift into builder mode. Because builders tolerate volatility. Savers avoid it. Which one are you? Pause, think about that. And we're just getting started. 2. The identity trap. I'm just not an investor. Ever notice how some people say, I'm just not into investing? But they're into upgrading phones, upgrading cars, upgrading holidays. Interesting. The issue isn't intelligence, it's identity. If you see yourself as cautious, you'll default to cash. If you see yourself as responsible, you'll default to saving. But wealth builders see themselves differently. They think like partial owners. When they buy an index fund, they don't think, I hope this doesn't crash. They think, I own a slice of global productivity. That mindset shift changes everything. Because now volatility isn't danger, it's noise. Let's be real for a second. If the market drops 20% tomorrow, would you panic? Or would you see discounted assets? Your answer tells you whether you're saving or building. And here's the discomfort moment. A lot of people who say they want wealth actually just want higher savings. They want the feeling of progress. Without the exposure to uncertainty, that's like wanting muscle. Without lifting anything heavy, doesn't work, mate. Wealth requires friction, not reckless risk, not crypto at 3 a.m. energy, calculated ownership. And the longer you delay that identity shift, the more compounding you surrender. Time is the real asset here, and savers often underestimate that. 3. Saving caps your ceiling. Systems remove it. Let's say you're disciplined. You save $1,000 a month. Solid. Respect. That's $12,000 a year. Feels productive. But your income is finite. Your savings rate is finite. Your discipline has limits. Wealth builders don't rely on discipline long-term. They build systems. Automatic investing, tax-advantaged accounts, broad market exposure, skill stacking that increases income. Systems remove decision fatigue. Because here's what quietly derails savers. Life. Rent increases. Trips with friends. A slightly nicer apartment because you earned it. Lifestyle inflation is subtle, sneaky, very Aussie, she'll be right. But it compounds in reverse. Every time your income rises and your lifestyle rises with it, you've chosen comfort over capital. And nobody announces that decision. It just happens. Now imagine instead, every raise automatically increases your investments first, not your lifestyle. That's a system. Now wealth building isn't emotional. It's mechanical, and mechanical beats motivated, always. Here's the hard truth. If your financial plan depends on you staying disciplined forever, it's fragile. Wealth is built on automation and identity alignment, not willpower. 4. The illusion of enough. This one's subtle. You hit $10,000 in savings. Feels amazing. Then $25,000. Now you feel secure. At $50,000 you think, okay, I'm good. But what does good mean? Enough for what? 6 months of expenses? A house deposit? Retirement? Savers chase a number. Wealth builders chase a system. There's a difference. Because once savers hit a comfort number, they slow down. They optimize safety. Builders optimize trajectory. One focuses on current balance. The other focuses on long-term slope. Let me put it bluntly. If your money isn't working harder than you are, you're still in the saving phase. And that's fine, temporarily. But permanent saving mode? That's a ceiling. And here's the quiet danger. You can look financially stable, even impressive. But 10 years later, you realize your net worth grew slower than it could have. Not because you were reckless, because you were cautious. This isn't about shaming safety. It's about upgrading strategy. Saving is step 1. Building is step 2. Staying in step 1 forever feels responsible, but it's incomplete. And incomplete strategies compound regret. So what's the upgrade? It's not stop saving. It's redefining who you are financially. You're not just someone who avoids mistakes. You're someone who owns productive assets. You're not just minimizing risk. You're pricing it intelligently. You're not obsessing over every dollar spent. You're building a machine that produces dollars without constant supervision. That's wealth. Calm, structured, long-term. Very Norwegian in temperament. No drama, just steady compounding. Wealth builders think in decades. They understand that volatility is temporary. Ownership is permanent. They automate investments before lifestyle upgrades. They increase income through skill leverage. They let time do heavy lifting. And here's the shift that changes everything. Savings give you safety. Assets give you freedom. Safety reduces fear. Freedom expands options. You need both. But in the right order. Emergency fund, yes. Cash buffer, absolutely. But beyond that, capital should be deployed, working, compounding, scaling with the global economy. Because the goal isn't a big savings account. The goal is optionality. The ability to say no to a toxic job, to take a sabbatical, to start something, to relocate, to invest when others panic. That only happens when your money works independently of your effort. And that's identity. You stop thinking like a saver. You start thinking like a capital allocator. Sounds fancy. It's not. It just means you ask a different question. Where does this dollar grow most effectively over 10 years? Instead of, where does this dollar feel safest right now? That's the conceptual upgrade. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You'll notice friends who brag about savings, but own nothing productive. You'll notice how banks market comfort, how consumer culture rewards visible spending, how few people talk about ownership quietly compounding in the background. And you'll realize, wealth isn't loud, it's structured, it's patient, it's boring, in the best possible way. Now here's the part most people miss. Financial stability can become a trap, because once you feel stable, you stop pushing for leverage. You stop taking intelligent risk. You stop upgrading systems. And stability without growth eventually turns into stagnation. That's the next level conversation. If this hit a little too close to home, good. That means you're aware. And awareness is where real control begins. If you want to understand how financial stability itself can quietly limit your upside, and how to avoid that trap, watch the next video on your screen. When financial stability becomes a trap, it's the natural continuation of this shift, because saving is where you start, but building, that's where freedom lives. I'll see you there.